Hello everyone, this is Kishore here, Kishore Bharti from Security. And the talk that I'm presenting, it's basically combination of two talks that I was supposed to present at Aquis. One about quantum assisted eigensolver and the other one about iterative quantum assisted eigensolver. And what I did that I combine these two together. So I will have basically two talks, like basically one talk, one long video, which I will fragment in two parts and try to convey my ideas, because in that way it's much more convenient and easy to process. So the title of my combined talk is this QAE and IQAE, a blueprint for undercode practical quantum advantage. Um, so this is the place, Center for Quantum Technology, where I work, and this is the group like Liang Xuan Kwek, the guy, our mentor, and yeah, like very nice guy to hang around with. And here is Toby, the picture of Toby, my collaborator and friend with whom we worked on these projects. And I thank Aquis for giving me the opportunity to present my results in this talk here. So yeah, I mean, now I directly jump into the main part of the talk. Yeah. So recently there was this experiment last year which kind of sent messages across academia and outside academia, some experiment on quantum supremacy where Google basically implemented some sampling task on their quantum computer using 53 qubit. Actually they're 54, but I guess one of the qubit didn't work, so they had effectively 53 qubit. And basically uh, they performed a task which will in around 200 seconds, which will take the state of the art classical computer something like 10,000 years. And in that sense they basically achieved supremacy. They were like, it was big news, and even like you can read this opinion article in New York Times by Scott Adamson, where he says that why Google's quantum supremacy milestone matters, and there were like many debates and so on, and I don't want to go in that in detail. Now, quantum supremacy, suppose, has been achieved allegedly, but the point is that can we have this development at the hardware frontier, can we like advance it to do something useful? And if we do not do, then there is possibility that quantum winter can come. So as John Preskill says, that enthusiasm will wane, funding will dry up before researchers get anywhere close to building full-scale machines, and quantum winter is a real concern, Preskill says. So you can read this place like Beyond Quantum Supremacy, the hunt for useful quantum computers, where like all these issues are discussed. So if you want to look for, practical quantum advantage, there are few areas where you can explore, like quantum simulation, combinatorial optimization, quantum chemistry, or machine learning, and the list kind of goes on, where you expect quantum devices to have some advantage over classical devices for some practical tasks. Yeah, I mean, Google's experiment though was very important, fundamentally it did not have any direct practical consequence, at least till now. So one of the problem which one can look at for practical quantum advantage is this quantum local Hamiltonian ground state problem. And this problem is QMA complete, means that the problem is really difficult. And this problem has applications in solid state physics, quantum chemistry, and combinatorial optimization. And hence you can hope to basically like if you solve or like find an approximate answer to some quantum local Hamiltonian ground state problem, then basically you can have applications in different areas. So yeah, I mean, we look at this problem in detail here. So the canonical NISQ era, like noisy intermediate scale quantum era algorithm for finding, approximating the ground state and ground state energy of Hamiltonian, is this variational quantum eigensolver algorithm. This algorithm is kind of, like a version of variational principle of quantum mechanics, a static variational principle, where you say that you want to find the ground state of some Hamiltonian. So you have some ansatz, and you tune the parameters of your ansatz such that you minimize the energy, and you know that the ground state is the minimum state, energy state, so you cannot go beyond that. So basically, you whatever approximation you find, you use it to like approximate the ground state and ground state energy. So that is what you do. You basically you prepare your ansatz on the quantum computer using some parametric quantum circuit, like some u theta acting on 0, and then you estimate the loss, basically is the expectation of the Hamiltonian. And then you update your parameters using some gradient free approach or gradient based approach, and basically, and then you have your new set of theta, and again you do this thing in a feedback loop. And this is a very interesting, amazing paper, but this work has many limitations. For example, you need this feedback loop, and if you try to run it on some quantum like computer, like in a job-based method, like the way the current day quantum computers are accessed, like you have to, this thing will like continue for a long time, like few days, and it's not very time effective. Also, I mean, there are many issues, like also you see that the optimization program is not well characterized, so it's highly non-convex and in like not characterized. So in general, you do not know like at which local minima you are at and so on. Like how good is your local minima and all with respect to the global minima. Then also there are some issues with respect to trainability, like so like I mean there was some paper by Google group where they showed that the gradients, like for most of the random initialization, the gradients basically that becomes 0, and even the variance kind of exponentially decays, like and this is a big problem. I mean, so they, for example, here this is the plot for this Hamiltonian, like sigma z1 sigma z2, so it's like z0 z1 tensor z z1 z tensor z tensor everywhere identity. And if you try to find the ground state, basically you fail. I mean, it's such a simple case, but still, like, I mean, VQE for random initialization, it fails here. And this happens because of, like hard random, like some two design properties and all, which in a long talk, I can go in detail and all. Also, there are like many papers which relate to, these barren plateau issues and all, like there's some paper by us also, like back in the past we did. And there are some entanglement induced barren plateau, noise induced barren plateau. There was this paper recently which I forgot to include, but it was about like even in the presence of gradient free optimization, you cannot mitigate this barren plateau issue, like from the Patrick Coles group. So also the classical optimization program is highly classical optimization program is highly non-convex and does not correspond to any well characterized optimization program. The ansatz is also not created in a very structured fashion, like, and if you try to create, then you suffer from like implementation issue and all. So that means we need to go beyond this VQE kind of algorithm and try to think of something new which can help us mitigate these issues. And here we propose the answer. So basically, like in these two papers, one on QAE and other IQAE, we use many ideas which are present in the literature in different papers, like some idea, like this idea that you write your Hamiltonian as a linear combination of unitary, this LCU idea of ITE. I mean, they were present in different papers, but not together. What we did that we kind of, like brought all of these ideas together and give an algorithm which is beyond VQE, an alternative to VQE, and subsumes VQE, and like helps us solve the problems which are faced by VQE. So I mean, the framework is simple. You say that your Hamiltonian is a linear combination of unitary. This you can say without loss of generality. I mean, even you can assume your unitaries to be, like polytensor matrices. Like most of the Hamiltonian that we see in nature, they are of this form. But even if they are not in this form, you can convert in this form. There is some additional cost, but with that, we don't care about here. I mean, for all practical purposes and in principle also, you can assume this Hamiltonian model. Now we talk about this. We have this notion of a hybrid state. We have this ansatz, where we take our ansatz to be a linear combination of quantum states. So it's similar to linear combination of atomic orbital kind of idea. And this need not be this is not necessarily a quantum state. I mean, it mimics a quantum state. So it's some kind of a hybrid state. And why I'm having the hybrid state, the justification for that is simple. Because I'm doing some hybrid computation, I want my state to be a hybrid state. And so this alpha I are some classical parameter, chi is some quantum state. Now what I do that I calculate the expectation value of my Hamiltonian for this kind of hybrid state, and that turns out to be some quadratically constrained quadratic program. So some QCQP, which is a well-studied program in combinatorial some optimization literature. So you minimize basically this expression, expectation value of Hamiltonian turns out to be alpha transpose D alpha, where D is this term. You can pause the video and verify it, subject to the constraint that this state is basically this hybrid state is a valid state, the normalization constraint, which is alpha transpose E alpha. So you have a quadratic program and quadratic equality constraint, and this is a QCQP well-studied program. So already we convert the program which was there, I mean the unconstrained optimization program in VQE to something which is something which is characterized. So it's a well-characterized program. Now, after this, we give this notion of we define this notion of something called cumulative K moment states. So using the unitaries which define the Hamiltonian, we define this idea of cumulative K moment states. So you have set of unitaries, let's say Ui, and let's start with some initial quantum state psi. What you can do that using the unitaries which define the Hamiltonian, you can define something called K moment state, which means that on your initial psi, you have this K of these unitaries, it act on it. So for example, one moment state will be basically U1 psi, U2 psi, U3 psi, the set of such states. Two moment states similarly will be, like two of them acting. And similarly, you can have K moment state. Now you define your cumulative K moment state as, union of such K moment states. And your ansatz is basically linear combination of such cumulative K moment states. Now our algorithm is very simple. Like, I mean, it's in three parts. Like first you select the ansatz, then you do something on the quantum computer, then this classical optimization. If you are not happy with the ansatz, then you add some more, like quantum states in it. But notice that there is no feedback loop between the classical computer and the classical optimization and the quantum computer. Once you have selected the ansatz, then basically there is no need of feedback loop in our algorithm. So what you do that for a particular value of K that you can select, you can create your ansatz, and for your ansatz, you can calculate this D and E, the overlap matrices, which can be difficult to compute classically. This can be easily computed if you assume, for example, your unitaries to be, like tensor Pauli matrices. And you calculate your D and E, and for this overlap, once you have computed the overlap on the quantum computer, classically you have to just solve some quadratically constrained quadratic program, and that will give you the value of alpha. And if you are not happy, you can change your K, or you can, like even start from some high K in the beginning and solve it and so on. There is justification for the ansatz which comes from imaginary time evolution, and this you can like pause the video and read and like try to convince it, because I do not have like there is not much time to convince, like, but you can pause it and try to convince yourself. The example problem which was, like Google tried Baron Plateau, that problem can be trivially solved in our framework, because you see that we use the structure of the Hamiltonian, and you can see that the zero moment state is psi theta, the one moment state is basically this unitary acting on psi theta, the cumulative one moment state is basically this psi theta and this thing. The two moment state again starts repeating, and you will see that basically the ground state lives in a two-dimensional subspace only. So no matter what is the, like the number of qubit you take or the depth, basically we tried it for a circuit of depth 200 layers and so on, and you can always find the answer. The answer is analytical. I mean, like you can always get it. We tried it for many different examples, like hydrogen molecule, ring of disagrees, Ising model, like also for XXZ Hamiltonian, and we got the answer. So yeah, I mean, if you are interested, we can talk about it like like personally, and I will go to the next part of the talk where I will like